Welcome to Venice, one of the most unique cities in the world. Built on more than 100 small islands in the shallow lagoon of the Adriatic Sea, Venice has fascinated travelers, merchants, artists, and explorers for over 1,000 years. Unlike most cities, Venice has no roads for cars. Instead, a network of canals serves as its streets, while hundreds of bridges connect neighborhoods that seem frozen in time. As we begin our walk, take a moment to look around. Every building, every narrow alley, and every stone embankment tells a story of a city that once stood at the center of global trade. Venice was founded during the early Middle Ages by people fleeing invasions on the mainland. Seeking safety, they settled among the marshy islands of the lagoon. What began as a refuge eventually became one of the most powerful maritime republics in history. For centuries, Venetian merchants controlled trade routes between Europe and the East. Silk, spices, precious stones, and exotic goods passed through these waters, bringing immense wealth to the city. The canals that surround us were not merely transportation routes. They were the arteries of a commercial empire. One of Venice's most famous waterways is the Grand Canal, a giant S-shaped channel that winds through the city. Along its banks stand magnificent palaces built by wealthy merchant families. Many of these buildings date back hundreds of years and still display their original Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque architecture. As we continue our walk, notice how closely the buildings stand together. Space in Venice has always been limited. Every meter was precious, leading to the creation of narrow streets, hidden courtyards, and compact squares. Venice is also known for its remarkable engineering. The city rests on millions of wooden piles driven deep into the lagoon floor. Surprisingly, these wooden foundations have survived for centuries because they remain submerged in oxygen-poor water, preventing decay. The result is one of the greatest engineering achievements of medieval Europe. Throughout its history, Venice attracted some of the world's most famous artists and architects. Painters such as Titian, Tintoretto, and Veronese helped shape the Venetian artistic tradition. Their works can still be found in churches, museums, and historic buildings throughout the city. Music also played an important role here. Venice was the home of Antonio Vivaldi, one of the greatest composers of the Baroque era. His masterpiece, The Four Seasons, remains among the most recognizable works in classical music. The city is equally famous for its masks and carnival. Every year, visitors from around the world come to experience the Venice Carnival, where elaborate costumes and decorative masks transform the city into a living theater. This tradition dates back centuries and reflects Venice's rich cultural heritage. Walking through Venice often feels like stepping into a movie set. Many films have been shot here, including famous scenes from James Bond adventures, Indiana Jones, and numerous historical dramas. But Venice's greatest attraction is simply being Venice. The reflections on the water, the gentle movement of boats, the sound of footsteps echoing through stone passageways, and the endless architectural details create an atmosphere unlike anywhere else on Earth. As we approach the heart of the city, the streets gradually become wider and more crowded. For centuries, pilgrims, traders, nobles, and travelers followed these same routes toward the most famous square in Venice. And soon, we arrive at Piazza San Marcosant, Mark's Square. Napoleon once described it as the drawing room of Europe. Standing here, it is easy to understand why. This magnificent, open space has served as the ceremonial and political center of Venice for centuries. Surrounded by elegant arcades, historic buildings, cafes, and monuments, the square represents the very soul of the city. The square takes its name from Saint Mark the Evangelist, whose relics were brought to Venice in the 9th century. According to legend, Venetian merchants smuggled the saint's remains out of Alexandria by hiding them beneath layers of cork, discouraging customs officials from inspecting the cargo. The arrival of St. Mark's relics elevated Venice's prestige and established St. Mark as the city's patron saint. Dominating the square is the breathtaking Basilica of St. Mark. The Basilica is unlike any other church in Western Europe. Its design reflects strong Byzantine influences, inspired by the architecture of Constantinople, today's Istanbul. Construction began in the 11th century, and over the centuries the building was enriched with treasures collected from across the Mediterranean world. The basilica's exterior is covered with arches, columns, sculptures, and decorative details gathered from distant lands. Its 5 grand domes create a distinctive silhouette that has become one of the symbols of Venice. Perhaps the most famous feature of the basilica is its golden mosaics. Inside, thousands of square meters of mosaics cover walls, arches, and domes. Made with tiny pieces of colored glass backed with gold leaf, they create a shimmering effect that fills the interior with warm, golden light. For this reason, St. Mark's Basilica is often called the Church of Gold. Near the basilica stands the Campanile, the bell tower of St. Mark, rising nearly 100 meters above the square. It offers one of the best views in Venice. The tower we see today is actually a reconstruction. In 1902, the original bell tower unexpectedly collapsed. Fortunately, no major casualties occurred, and the tower was rebuilt almost exactly as it had appeared before. Another remarkable structure on the square is the Doge's Palace. For centuries, this was the residence of the Doge, the elected ruler of Venice, as well as the seat of government and justice. Behind its elegant facade, decisions were made that influenced trade, diplomacy, and politics throughout the Mediterranean. The palace is connected to a nearby prison by the famous Bridge of Sighs. Legend says that prisoners crossing the bridge would take one last look at Venice before imprisonment, releasing a sigh as they gaze through its small windows. As you look around the square, notice the blend of architectural styles. Byzantine, Gothic, Renaissance, and Baroque influences coexist here, reflecting centuries of cultural exchange and prosperity. Today, St. Mark's Square remains one of the most visited locations in Italy. Millions of people gather here each year to admire the architecture, enjoy the atmosphere, and experience the unique character of Venice. Yet despite the crowds, moments of quiet beauty can still be found. The changing light, the sound of bells, and the sight of pigeons crossing the open square continue to create unforgettable memories. Venice faces many modern challenges, including flooding, rising sea levels, and the pressures of mass tourism. But the city remains remarkably resilient. For more than 1,000 years, Venice has adapted, survived, and inspired generations of visitors. As our journey comes to an end, take one final look at this extraordinary place. A city built upon water. A city of merchants, artists, explorers, and dreamers. A city where history and beauty meet at every corner. Thank you for joining this VR180 walk through Venice. We hope you enjoyed exploring one of the world's most remarkable cities. Until next time, thank you for watching.